Hey guys, today we're down here at Best Products. John, thanks for having us down, man.
You're welcome.
I love what you guys are doing down here. You've been a fixture in this neighborhood for a long time.
Yes, 65 years next year, we will have been manufacturing here in Park Rose, actually, in 5 different locations in Park Rose, which is where I grew up.
That is great. And this is a family-run company.
Family-run company.
That's great. When did your dad start this?
My dad, 1959 is the date, the year we come up with. Actually bought it out of the Oregonian from a one-man guy who had 2 part-time employees and didn't make anything. He just had 2 part-time employees that worked in the evening after their jobs. And he bought it from the guy and went around and showed the product to a couple of restaurant supply dealers, which is the origin of the company. We probably only sold wholesale restaurant supply dealers for 20 years, and then it kind of transitioned into more of a retail product as gourmet shops and home cooking. Let's just say home cooking overtook frozen foods.
There we go.
Kind of what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna make some whisks today.
We are gonna make some whisks. That's what we do.
I love it. Well, let's go take a look at the first step.
Okay.
All right, so what's our first stop here?
Well, our first stop here is at this automatic cold saw where we cut parts to length depending upon what we need. We're a lean manufacturer, so we only cut things as needed and stage them for the next process. So right here, we're just cutting various lengths. We can adjust that to whatever we're doing.
Nice, and that's just the handle part to start with?
That's just the handle part, correct.
Nice. After this gets cut, where do we go from there?
Well, from there we will finish the assembly of the handle over here on this grazing machine.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
All right, our next step?
Our next step is this soldering grazing machine where we fixture a bottom cap in the handle that's permanently fixtured from the inside, so no water, no food, nothing can get into the handle. And that's done on this machine here, which has kind of a series of torches and air for cooling. We paste the bottom, put the cap in, and as it goes around the carousel, it gets grazed and cooled.
That is cool. Before this, it was all just handwork, right?
It was all handwork. Yeah, everything was handwork. Bending wires by hand, everything was handwork.
All right, what's our next step?
Well, our next step is to take the polished handle and put a little cap in it that creates a cavity where we can pot our whisk head in there.
Okay.
So we're just pressing this down. It varies in length and size, but we're just pressing that down for the sake of argument about an inch.
Nice. And that's just the stop for where that whisk slides into.
Yeah, that's just kind of the
wire stop, really.
Yeah, where the potting of the whisk goes in. Yeah.
Nice. All right, I see we got a spool of wire. Looks like we're getting started on the whisk part.
Yeah, we bring in our wire in 50-pound spools. We have about 6 different diameters that we bring in, and then we put everything on this CNC wire bending machine that is custom, and we bend the wires. Most of the whips have either 8 or 10 wires, so you know, it just goes through the motion, and we can change it to different diameters, and that's how it all works.
Wow, you can really see the different wire sizes and styles right here.
Yeah, so the wire comes off the machine over there, and there's 8 to 10 wires per whisk, and so all of these racks have different shapes, different lengths, different diameters. You can see they're separated, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
So when they're assembled, they go in a very specific way. It's always been what our whisk looks like, and we'll see that in the next stage. But this is all of the wire, and so if someone's changing from one size to the other, they just take this, set it over there, and again, that's part of our lean process. You can move from one size to the other very quickly. seamlessly, and it just makes everything very efficient.
Now this looks like where the art of this happens now, right?
Well, yes. This is where we assemble the whisk head, and as I mentioned, everything is assembled in the same pattern on all the whisks. So Kamsai here will pull the different numbers that fit in the ladder, the scale of the whisk, so you can see that they start out shorter and they go up to the last wire, which at the top. But there's a specific pattern for every whisk.
All right, so now we're at the kind of final assembly part of this.
Yes, the final assembly where the whisk head meets the handle that you've seen along the way here.
Yeah.
So we epoxy the whisk heads into the handle. Mm-hmm. We have our epoxy mixing machine over here, and so we fill these handles under this lower rack, and then we put the upper rack on top, as you saw in the previous trip in the shop there. And then once the handles are full of epoxy, we can raise this up. It drops
cool.
the whisk head into the cavity where it ends up getting potted into the epoxy.
All right, so if somebody wants one, where do they find them?
Well, Kitchen Caboodle has been a customer of ours for 30 years, ever since their inception. So they're a great store. Rose's, a restaurant supply store here in town, is a great customer that has, customer walk-in trade. Well-Spent Market here in town, they do a nice job with our products. And of course, on the internet, just searching best whisks, you will get a wide variety of places where you can buy all different sizes, from a little 8-inch one like this to 4 feet ones like that, if you so prefer. So
that is great. Well, thanks for having us out today, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you coming, Eric.
I love what you guys are doing down here. All right, guys, if you want the best, it's made right here in Portland.